Hey everyone, welcome back this week. It's going to be a bit of a short one. It has been a manic week. Honestly, don't know, there's just not enough hours in the day. We've had hospital appointments, physio appointments, laser engraving stuff to get out for Christmas. It's just been mad. But we finally got the van back. It was gone for a week having the solar system fitted, which gave us a little bit of time to breathe. We've done our ferry tickets from Cadiz in Spain to Arrecife in Lanzarote. So we're heading out. Well, we actually got our Eurotunnel. We booked the Eurotunnel first and then found there wasn't any space on the ferry, which was a bit of a pain. So we had to change our Eurotunnel. So we're crossing into France on the 10th of January. And then we've got the ferry booked for the 20th. So a little bit more of a relaxed trip down this time. We're going to take 10 days, maybe even stop at a few places in France and Spain for a couple of nights, which will be nice. The ferry was reasonably easy to book. It's a little bit more complicated when you've got a pet, because if you don't want your pet to go in the kennels up on the top deck, then you have to book a cabin, and the cabins are quite expensive. So for the ferry crossing there from Cadiz to Arrecife for a motorhome under 8 meters with 2 adults and a pet and a cabin came to £1,216. So it's not cheap, but you know, if you consider you're going there for a good period of time, you'd pay that for a hotel for 1 week all day long. You know, a nice hotel that'd probably only get you about 4 nights. So it is worth it overall, and you can go where you like, park where you like. So yeah, so that's all to come in the new year. Should be very exciting. A lot of people have had questions about the trip down to the Canaries in a motorhome. Toll booths, you know, crossing borders, all that sort of stuff, and even the ferry. And then park ups once you're over in the Canaries. We'll be doing some island hopping. We'll be going Lanzarote, Fuerteventura, then to Gran Canaria, maybe even further. We'll see how we get on. It's not too expensive to travel between the islands, but you don't want to do it too often, and you do find yourself waiting around. And on some of the ferries you've even got a reverse on, which is not the most thing I've ever done in my life. But yeah, on to now. So like I say, we've got our ferry booked, we've got the Eurotunnel booked, we're just waiting for our Critair sticker to come, and then we're pretty much set and ready to go. I've still got to sort out the bed at the back of the van. I've got the ply cut, but I cut it wrong. No surprise. So I've got to finish that off tomorrow morning. But I was just going to show you the system that we had fitted, because it's a little bit different to the last one. So I'll get the sofa cushions off and you can take a look. So the guys at Solar Solutions went above and beyond this time. They've actually built us a frame, because once you remove the agouti fold-up travel seat that's underneath the sofas, you actually don't have anything for your sofa to rest on. It's just a big open space. So they've put in all of these bits of wood so that this seat can still go on there. It's actually got wood inside it, so it does support. I think I'm going to do a couple of little ones in between just to be on the safe side. But yeah, here's the system. It fits really nicely under the seat. We're actually going to take the seat out of the other side as well. I mean, if you're going to do this, you do have to send your logbook off to the DVLA and get it re-registered as only having 2 travel seats. Because in the future, when we have an MOT, they won't be able to test the 2 seats because they're not there. So you do have to get that changed, but it's very easy to do. Usually you just take a photo and send it in with the logbook. On the odd occasion, when you're altering a vehicle, you have to drive to the DVLA buildings. Our one is Portsmouth, so it's not too far. And we can just go down there, they take a look at it, confirm it, and then you get your logbook through in a few days. So it's pretty straightforward. So onto the system. So we've got a 460 amp hour lithium battery, which is Fogstar, which is really good. You have an app on your phone so you can monitor the battery level. You can monitor how it's charging, how it's discharging. You can check the level of all of the cells, because something they do recommend when you've got a system like this, or anything with a lithium battery actually, if you're running on solar panels, every few months hook up and let it charge from your 240, because it balances the cells. Sometimes the cells can get imbalanced, which is not good, and it can affect the overall life of the battery. So that's something to be aware of. We've got our isolator switch over there. Then we've got a multi-plus system. This is new for us. We didn't have this in our last one. We had a Renogy 3000 watt inverter last time and a separate charger for the 240 hookup. But this does it all. Normally you will have a little display panel that you sort of adjust and set depending on what you're going to be using. But with this one, it does it all for you. You've got a little dongle down here, and that connects to the Victron app, and then you can just set it. So basically all you do is you switch it on the switch, and then from the app you switch it on and it does everything for you. Previously, where we had these two sockets fitted here, which was great actually, because there was a hole here for the fold up seat, and they managed to put the socket over the hole to cover the hole, which is wonderful, just what I wanted really. But we used to have a little switch just here, so when you plugged in the 240 hookup, you had to flip the switch and then that would charge the battery, and you used to have to remember to turn that off again, otherwise it'll make a noise and sometimes you could get a funny smell, which is not ideal. So this does it for you. You don't have to do any altering with anything. There's no switch to turn on the inverter for when you want to use the plug sockets. Literally just all in one box. It's not cheap. I think that box plus fitting and everything was about 1200 quid. But honestly, it's well worth it. I would not go back to a standard inverter after having this. It's just so much easier. So then we've got the MPPT controller for the solar panels. We've got the DC to DC 50 amp charger, so that will charge the lithium battery from the engine when the engine's running. And then we've got the little DC to DC converter over here, which keeps the engine battery topped up from the solar. So obviously where the vehicle's quite new, we haven't got any issues with the engine battery. It's still almost brand new battery. But as it gets a little bit older and it starts to lose a little bit of its life cycle, this will keep it topped up, so it'll keep it going for a bit longer. And then obviously if the van's parked for a long period of time, sometimes batteries drain, because these things are live permanently. You know, you can track it on the app, switch the engine on, turn the heating on, all from the app indoors, you know. So keeping the battery topped up is really great. You know you're always going to have a full battery. And that's it. We've got a little shunt down here which keeps control of the power, tells you what's charging, what's discharging, how many amps you're using. Yeah, and that's about it really. Really neat system. They fitted it really nicely, nicely tucked away. Just got to build a little bit more of the frame on the top, and then I'm going to remove this seat over here, build a similar frame over there, and that's it really. And then I've just got to sort out the bed at the back. I've got the screws, I've got the grip fill. I measured it and cut it, but as usual, my measuring and cutting was not accurate. So I've marked it now with the actual mattress on the bed. So that's going to be cut tomorrow. That's going to be screwed down, and that's pretty much ready to go. I've got the legs for the table in the front room, so that's all sorted. We've had, oh yeah, they did the gas bottle for us as well. So we already had a 6 kilogram gas low from the previous van that Spinny changed over for us when we changed vans. But I had Solar Solutions fit us in another 11 kilogram gas low bottle. So we've got an 11 kilogram and a 6 kilogram now, which is really great, because beforehand, you know, if you're using it regularly when it's cold and you're using the heating, then it would only last us about sort of 4, maybe 5 days. The last time we went to the Canaries, actually, I think we filled up twice on a 6 kilogram in 3 months, but we were staying at villas and obviously it's not as cold there, so you don't use the gas heating as much. Because I mean, that's one thing to bear in mind if you're going to have one of these solar systems with the batteries and everything. If you want to use the electric heating, it does absolutely cane the battery. I think we get about 4 or 5 hours of heating out of this 460 amp hour battery. So it's not ideal. You want to be using gas, and then it barely uses anything. It just uses it on the 12 volt. So that's it really. I'm going to do another part, which I'll probably put out on Monday actually. So there'll be another one in a couple of days, which will be finishing the bed and showing you what the bed looks like when it's all done. And I'll have a quick look in the gas locker as well, so you can see the gas low bottles, how they fit in there. And that's it really. We're just all sort of geared up, really ready to go to the Canaries after Christmas. So fingers crossed, everything will be okay. Everything seems great at the moment. The solar panels, I forgot to say, they put on the roof. They put a 550 watt system up there, and we already had 200 watt, which they've tapped into. So we've got 750 watts of solar. which was more than enough last time. Battery never went below 70%. That's with the microwave, the air fryer, you know, everything being used. So I think we'll be all right. We should be there. We're going to have a couple of test runs. We need a wild camping test run to check all the system and everything. And then we just want to get away for a couple of nights and make sure the beds are as comfortable as we can make them. And then, yeah, we'll be preparing for the journey. It's about, once you get into France, to get to Cadiz, to the ferry terminal, it's about 21 hours of driving. But that can obviously change depending on traffic and rerouting from the maps. So I think the best way to look at it is at mileage, really. So we're going to aim to do so many miles per day. But I mean, France, we did it last time in 2 days, but we'll probably take 4 days to do France and 4 days to do Spain. And then that'll give us 2 days to play with. So if we stay somewhere really nice, we can stay there an extra day, and we can do that twice. So we'll see how we can get on. The main thing for us really was getting this system fitted, because the places we stopped in France and Spain, luckily we watched a video before we went last time, and there was a guy explaining that quite often where they have 2-pin connections, you know, you've got your live and your neutral. They don't have an earth, so you've got your live and your neutral. You don't know which way round it's going. So most stuff that you get in Europe works the polarity either way, basically, but obviously our stuff doesn't. You can do damage. So we've got this small little plug that you just plug in a plug socket in the van. You plug your hookup in as normal, and then that has lights on it that tells you if the polarity is reversed or if it's okay. Definitely worth getting. They're a couple of quid on eBay, but yeah, definitely worth getting those. And I think that's about it, really. We're kind of sorted. We just need a couple of test runs, get Christmas out of the way, because it's always mental. And yeah, we'll be on our way, hopefully, to sunnier climes, but we'll see. Anyway, I'll catch up with you in a couple of days, let you know the progress of the bed. If anyone's got any questions about the system, the gas flow, or even travelling across into France, Spain, Portugal, Europe, anything like that, drop us a comment and I'll get back to you straight away. All right, all the best, and we'll see you in a couple of days.